The collapse of Czechoslovakia was a pivotal moment in the country's history, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. The story of Czechoslovakia is a tale of two ethnic groups, the Czechs and the Slovaks, who came together to form a single nation, but who also struggled to find common ground as they navigated the challenges of the 20th century. The Czechs and Slovaks were two distinct ethnic groups, each with their own unique history, culture, and language. However, despite their differences, they shared a common goal of creating a strong and prosperous nation. After the fall of the Austro-Hungarian Empire in 1918, Czechoslovakia was established as an independent state, with Tomáš Garriga Masaryk serving as its first president. During the early years of its existence, Czechoslovakia faced a range of economic difficulties, including high inflation and a shortage of resources. However, the country managed to persevere, thanks in part to its strong military and the support of its allies. The 1930s were marked by the rise of Nazi Germany, and the eventual annexation of the Sudetenland in 1938 by Hitler. This act of aggression was followed by the occupation of the rest of the country in March 1939, when Nazi forces marched into Prague and took control. During the Nazi occupation, many Czechoslovaks suffered under the brutal regime, and the country was used as a source of slave labor for the German war effort. In 1945, the war ended, and Czechoslovakia was liberated by Soviet forces. However, the post-war years saw the establishment of a communist regime, which was led by Klement Gottwald. Under his rule, the country experienced repression, censorship, and human rights abuses, leading to growing unrest among the population. The Prague Spring of 1968 was a seminal moment in the country's history, as it marked the first time that the communist regime was challenged by a wave of protests and reforms aimed at ending the country's one-party rule. However, the movement was brutally suppressed by Soviet forces, and many of its leaders were imprisoned or exiled. The late 1980s saw the beginning of the end for the communist regime, as a wave of popular protests swept across the country and the Soviet Union. The Velvet Revolution of November 1989 was a peaceful uprising, led by the playwright and dissident Václav Havel, who went on to become the country's first democratic president. He famously said, "Truth and love must prevail over lies and hatred." Under his leadership, Czechoslovakia experienced a new era of freedom, democracy, and prosperity, as the country transitioned from a one-party state to a multi-party democracy. However, despite this new era of hope and progress, Czechoslovakia faced a range of challenges in the years that followed. Political and economic difficulties, along with growing ethnic tensions between the Czechs and the Slovaks, proved to be too much to bear, and on June 8, 1992, the country split into two separate nations, the Czech Republic and Slovakia. The fall of Czechoslovakia was a historic event, shaped by a range of factors and influenced by larger forces of history. But at its heart, it was a story of a nation that came together to form a single state, but ultimately found it impossible to overcome its differences and live together in peace. The collapse of Czechoslovakia remains a cautionary tale, reminding us of the importance of unity, truth, and love, in the face of political, economic, and ethnic challenges.